Hey there nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and welcome to the Underhive's Most Wanted, a series dedicated to the analysis of the Dramatis Personae fighters in Games Workshop's Necromunda. We will discuss the characters' rules, their equipment, their strengths and weaknesses, their positive gameplay mechanics, as well as negative gameplay mechanics, and also provide other critical information to help you to dominate in your next campaign of Necromunda. And on this episode, we'll discuss the Prophet of the Redemption as well as Rattus Tatterskin, two Dramatis Personae featured in the House Cawdor. We'll look at their stats, their skills, their weapons, their war gear, special rules, and provide our insights on this Dramatis Personae for your gang. And because this video will be a little bit more of a deeper dive, we will put timestamps in the description box down below so that way you can click and navigate to the part of the video that interests you the most. So that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the agents that work for House Cawdor by starting off with Rattus Tatterskin. So let's take a look at Rattus Tatterskin's current characteristics. He's got a 5-inch wound allowance as well as 4+ weapon skill and force plus ballistic skill. He has 3 strength and 3 toughness as well as 1 wound. He's also got 4+ for initiative as well as 1 attack. And for his psychological stats, he's got 8+ for leadership, 5+ for cool, 6+ for willpower, as well as 9+ for intelligence. Now, when it comes to his characteristics, his stats are actually pretty average. I mean, they're pretty much on point for what you would normally see for most Cawdor fighters. However, he does have a better and improved cool stat, as well as willpower stat, which can make it easier for him to attack people who have fearsome, for example, that or to be able to shoot at enemies that have the corpse grinder cultists, for example. That's 6+ willpower is going to make him able to pass most willpower tests and also to put the hurt on his enemies. At the same time, that 5+ cool is also great as well because it makes sure he doesn't break his nerve tests and he can stand his ground for most things that he has. Now, as for his war gear, he does have 2 weapons. He does have a heavy stubber as well as flak armor. The flak armor is a 6+ armor save, which is not great. However, though, that heavy stubber though is kind of nice. It's a really powerful heavy support weapon. Strength 4 causes 2 damage. Causes a damage. It also has 2 rapid fire dice, so it does a really good job that way as well. Now for his skill, he does have the fearsome skill, which is kind of neat, which means that your opponent must pass a willpower test in order to charge him in close combat. I think it's because of the fact that Rattus Tatterskin is not exactly the most cleanest person. Some people don't really want to interact with him too much as well. Now at the same time, he can generate faith dice, which is kind of nice. So he actually, because he has the Article of Faith, he does generate a number of faith dice with 1, and he can also perform the Articles of Faith Path the Doomed ability, so that we can address additional Articles of Faith dice so that you can use to get your miracles off as well. At the same time, he does have that My Little Friend special rule, which gives him D6 Strength 1 damage 1 hits against enemies in base contact, which is kind of nice as well. Now you might be thinking, well, Commander Cheapskate's only Strength 1, but anybody can roll a 6 to wound, and who knows, your enemies sometimes have bad dice rolls and they can also lose their armor saves and of course lose their fighters that way as well. Now, the only downside of this character, of course, is that he must pass a willpower test or be subject to the insanity condition, and like I said before, having that 6+ willpower means he will pass 72% of the time, so that's kind of a nice little gamble there. Although, just be aware that every once in a while you will fail that willpower test and he does become insane, which could be kind of crazy. So the question becomes, why in the world would you take this guy at Rattus Tatterskin in the first place? Well, the reason why you would take him is for one very simple reason. He only costs 90 credits and he brings a heavy stubber with him. What you're really paying for is a 90 credit heavy stubber to be used in your gang, and that's really where the value of Rattus Tatterskin comes into, in my opinion. Why not take him? I mean, he's really cheap. He could put out some serious firepower to your enemies as well. So at this point, if you got 90 credits to burn, why not include Rattus Tatterskin into your gang? So up next, finally, we have the Prophet of the Crusade. This guy is a House Cawdor agent who costs anywhere between 80 to 160 credits. Pretty much what ends up happening is determine whether you could use this guy or not. You roll up on a table, add your reputation and a d6 total, and that determines the price that you can use to hire this character. This character actually works for House Cawdor fighters as well as crusading gangs and the Vaults of Timnos, as well as any for rebellion gangs for the Aranthe Secession as well. So let's talk about his characteristics real quick. So he has an 8-inch wound allowance, so he's wicked shoot fast, as well as 4+ weapon skill and 4+ ballista skill. He does have 5 strength as well as 4 toughness. He comes with 2 wounds, has +4 for initiative as well as 1 attack. He's also got 5+ for leadership, 6+ for cool, 6+ willpower, as well as 6+ intelligence. So he's got pretty decent stat lines. He's got really high strength as well as toughness, as well as pretty fast movement skill. And the reason why is because he does pack a full servo harness, which is kind of nice as well. That's also why his statistics have been altered a little bit to represent the fact that he's wearing that exosuit in order to help him out to do that. At the same time, it also comes with the skills Iron Will, which is great, which means that your gang, if you recruit this character, you have a -1 to your battle test, so you only have to worry about breaking that threshold with one less fighter being removed. He's also got the Overseer skills, so that way he can take a leadership test, and on a 5+, he's going to pass it pretty much all the time. That way he can give a fighter than 12 inches the double activations ability, and he's also got the Unstoppable skill as well, which kind of helps out with him receiving flesh wounds, which is kind of nice. Now, like I said before, he's pretty much available to any Cawdor as well as any Crusading gangs from the Vaults of Temenos. He's also available to gangs or allied with Lady Kratos Rebellion, so if you want to use this character for your campaigns in the American Secession, he's actually quite good. Now, he does also come with a special rule, which basically kind of mimics the terrifying rule from the Butchers of the Corpse Grinder cults. Basically, if your enemy wants to be able to fight this character or shoot at them, they must pass a willpower test in order to do that first. If they fail that willpower test, that means their action ends immediately and they lose any activations that they would normally have. So this guy is kind of great for trolling your enemies in order to try to attack him and lose their activations as well. He does have the special rule called Blessed by the Lost Saint, which means he's got a 3+ ward save, which is absolutely fantastic. And he's also got the Beacon of the Redemption special rule, which means that anybody who's in the line of sight of him adds +2 to their cool as well as their willpower, so long as they can see this guy with uninterrupted sight. So the Prophet's actually pretty amazing. Granted, the Prophet doesn't have any range attacks and he doesn't have any weapons at all, but that strength 5 doesn't really matter because he can basically punch fools in the face and just kind of take them out. On a charge, he gets 2 attacks, so he makes them quite deadly that way. The Prophet, what you're really using him for is for psychological stats, is what you're using him for. You're basically using him as a way in order to kind of troll your enemies, at the same time kind of mitigate your losses when it comes to losses that you might take with battle tests. At the same time, you also want him for his Overseer abilities, that way you can double activate fighters who are really critical in your gang. But the real reason why you want this guy is, like I said before, is the psychology boost that he gives. Anybody within line of sight of him gets +2 to their cool as well as their willpower. So for example, if you're a House Cawdor player and let's say you have a bunch of bone pickers of course are the Cawdor Druby level fighters. They have horrible psychology stats, especially when it comes to their cool and willpower. If you throw the Prophet with them, they're going to be able to get about a 6 cool as well as a 6 willpower. So those guys will be able to do almost anything without having to worry about it too much. So if you're an Outcast gang, for example, Outcast gangs are notorious for the horrible psychology stats. The Prophet is a great way in order to, take care of that without having to spend too much credits in order to do so. Now, the Prophet may be seen kind of expensive at 80 to 160 credits, but do realize that because the campaign mechanics of the Amaranthian Secession, you might be able to recruit this character for free, so that part's kind of nice. And at the same time, there is no Forge World exclusive for this miniature, so you can pretty much use anything you want in order to represent this character, which makes it very cost effective to actually field on the battlefield. At the same time as well, if you want to, you could also make this guy into an Outcast gang leader. He would also be perfect for that as well. Give him some additional weaponry, make him a little bit deadlier. This guy could be an absolute beast if you get this guy out correctly for an Outcast gang. And that pretty much makes up our take on the Prophet. So in conclusion, any of these fighters are basically worth the cost. Rattus Tatterskin is great for 90 credit heavy stubber. The Prophet's perfect in order to be an Outcast gang leader himself, or to actually add some much needed psychology support for your gangs as well. The nice thing about these guys too is that Rattus Tatterskin is the only Forge World exclusive miniature, so if you do play in a campaign that requires you to use the actual miniature, you do have to pay for that, so that part's kind of rough. But if you play anybody else though, you could just slap in some random Cawdor fighter with a heavy stubber and that would count as Rattus Tatterskin. It would actually work just fine. And plus, as there is no Forge World miniature for the Prophet of Redemption, you can use anything you want in order to do that, and it makes it very cost effective as well. And like I said before, while Rattus Tatterskin might not be a great Outcast gang leader, I mean, you could do it if you want to, just be aware that you might run into some problems with that. The Prophet would definitely be an excellent leader for your Outcast gang as well. So do keep that in mind as some options in case you want to use Dramatis Personae in your future campaigns at Necromunda. So there you guys have it. That's good to do for this one. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. You guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good to do for this week, guys. I will catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.